Hi, my name is Bill Busca, or Busca, depending on who you ask. It has to do with the U. Anyway, here we are in South Haven, Michigan. We're at the family compound. This is a home that was purchased by my great-grandparents on my mom's side, which is the name J.R.R. Back in the 1930s. They retired here from Chicago. They were immigrants from Germany. They lived in Hyde Park in Chicago, and they moved up here. And the family cottage. This is my mom's side of the family, the German side of the family. My great-grandparents were German immigrants, and I think they came from the Black Forest area, if memory serves me correctly.
Black Forest?
If the folklore is correct. Baden-Baden, maybe? The town's so nice they named it twice. Anyway, so thank goodness for them. That's all I have to say. How about it? My Italian side of the family, where's their house that they left for me? Nowhere. No. Anyway, so the German side prevailed with a family cottage. That is my sanctuary, my spiritual center. I think this is our family center, such as it is anymore. But this is a nice place to live, South Haven, Michigan. Lots of towns around here that are nice towns to explore and maybe live in and work. Of course, in the summertime you get tourist industry, and in the winters it's a little more brutal. And
all right, Billy. So you are a person that, out of all of our group of friends, I mean, have probably traveled more places throughout the world in this country than I know. So I'm very interested to hear about, when did you start traveling and where did you start traveling to?
Well,
let's go over that.
Yeah, well, high school, we were pretty much locked on the south side of Chicago. We didn't really go to the north side even, you know? I mean, that was foreign, unless you were a Cubs fan, I guess, and you probably were beat, as you rightfully should have been, on the playground. But you still might have gone up north. The south side of Chicago, they call it a village in the city, and in a lot of ways it's like a village, you know, where you don't even necessarily explore outside of your village. I think I got a little curious about the world watching TV and seeing, you know, National Geographic shows, looking at National Geographic magazines, and then also when I got a little bit older, reading On the Road. Jack Kerouac, you know, was inspiration for hitchhiking anyway. And all that stuff started to come together at the same time for me. High school days, you know, maybe partying a little bit, and, you know, meeting new people and having friends, and those exciting times, and, you know, 14 through 18, you know. And then 18, you get to split, you know, you get to finally, you know, do whatever the heck you want. And my parents, I think they realized that I probably wanted to hit the road. Maybe they wanted me to hit the road because they bought me a backpack for graduation. And so I had a buddy in high school that we decided, you know, we'd go to San Francisco after his freshman year of college. I didn't make it to college after high school right away because I had to work. So that year after freshman year, I had long hair. I'd grown my hair long, you know. My hair was pretty long in high school. And Tom had long hair. And so we figured we were hippies, whatever, you know, close enough, reasonable south side of Chicago version. And we were going to do some traveling. And he had already spent a year at U of I. And anyways, on the way out to San Francisco, Tom and I were driving. We were going to pick up his fiancée. He's now married to Sean. We're going to pick her up in Denver or Boulder, one of the places. And as we're driving out, it was the first trip out west, right? And I'd been to Florida before with the family, you know, so I've been through driving, so we were always through, you know, the Smoky Mountains, right? And now I'm going to see the Rockies for the first time, and I've been hearing about these Rocky Mountains all my life. And we're driving to Denver, and little did we know, we're actually going uphill. Yeah, it's an uphill journey on Interstate 80, right? I think that's what we're on. And so we're going uphill, and we get to Denver, and it's dark. And we get out of Denver, and so we're like heading towards Boulder, and we figure it's time to camp. we get into, I'm like, hey, Tommy, where are these mountains they keep telling us about? So we finally get to place to camp and have a little something to eat, get in our sleeping bags, wake up, and there they are. We're in the middle of them. They're towering over us. And it's like, okay, gotcha. These are the mountains. So that was neat. And then, picked up Sean in Boulder and then headed to California. And so I got to see California for the first time. And everything for the first time is great, especially, places you've heard about in songs, and especially if you like rock and roll and the Beach Boys and whatnot. And here it is, man. This is it. So that was fun.
You ended up living and working on Catalina?
Yeah, I didn't even know if it was then. I think it was later. Yeah, it was actually quite a bit later because I hadn't actually gotten to college yet. And I met a buddy in college who turned me on to Catalina Island. Yeah.
Okay, tell us about that.
I was waiting tables and bartending. Yeah. And it was pretty cool. And met some California people, got to be friends with, and a lot of new experiences. And living on an island, kind of weird. Island people are kind of different, kind of like mountain people.
How different how?
Well, they're secluded from general population, more or less. I mean, I guess we could say Beverly was an island, and you would be correct in making that analogy. But island people, they really don't have anybody else. The tourists, they're treated like tourists, and the regulars, the town folks, they know who each other are, and they got their own thing going on, And then after a while being there, you can infiltrate a little bit, but you never really quite fit in, So then I get back to the Midwest, and I go back to college, and now it's taken a long time to go through my 4-year college education. My Bachelor of Science degree is eluding me because of money. I'm taking a couple hours here, a couple hours there, working some shitty jobs, waiting tables, but still taking time to get through college. And I only got 11 hours left. I take a semester off. So anyways, I went home for a funeral. My brother Marty showed me a check. He was working selling cable TV. I said, hey, can I do that? Sure. So I go back to Chicago. I still got 11 hours left of college, but now I'm making money. Going door to door selling cable. First time I come to Chicago, 1987, I guess it is. That sounds about right. And so now I got some dough, but I was like, I don't want to be a salesman. I want to travel around the world. And so then I decide, okay, now it's time to go around the world. And my first stop was back to Catalina Island, I think. And then I worked out there for a while. Then I went to Mammoth, California, and worked out there in the ski resorts, right? So waiting tables and ski resorts came together for me in Mammoth. And then after Mammoth, I decided, okay, I did a little construction out there too. I did a little home building in the Mammoth Valley, a beautiful, pristine valley, until we got through with it. And then it was a bunch of condos and houses. There's many. And so anyway, so I'm out in Catalina, and then I go up to Mammoth, and now time to go around the world. It's okay. It's like this. Just do it. So I come back to Chicago, and I tell everybody I'm going to Europe. And it's autumn, and people are like, when are you going? I go, soon. And after a while, people got sick of me saying it. It says, Bill, just get the hell out of here. You're going, go. So I bought a one-way ticket to Spain. I had this friend from the neighborhood, Donna Damaro. And Donna was teaching English in Spain. And we were corresponding. So it was 89. I'm in Chicago. People are telling me, okay, Bill, if you're going to Europe, get on a plane, do something, go. And I wasn't sure what I wanted to go around the world. That was the idea. I wanted to work my way around the world. And I only had, after I bought my ticket, about $200. So I guess I didn't save much out in California, And so I buy a one-way ticket to Spain, land in Madrid. Donna picks me up at the airport. She takes me to a pension, and I get a room and nice family, and everything. And everything's a little strange in Spain. Not sure what I wanted to do. I was here in Europe, and my friends Tom and Sean, who I had traveled with to California, just happened to be going to Europe that same fall. They were going to go up to Frankfurt, Germany, visit some of her family, and then they were going to travel down by rental car all the way to Sicily. That's a long way. And so I was going to join them. And I was in Spain. All I had to do was get to Germany, Couldn't be too tough. And then travel with them down to Sicily. And keep in mind, I only had $200, and I'm already going through it in Spain. I mean, geez, it's a cheaper country. Back then, it was, not bad prices, but still, it wasn't free. And anyway, so I get, a little antsy, and I say, Donna, I think I'm going to split to Germany. I can meet with these friends of mine. She says, well, I could get you a job teaching Spanish. You could stay right here. Or teaching English, because I didn't speak Spanish. Anyway, so teaching English. They already know how to speak Spanish. So I was going to get a job teaching English. That seemed like a pretty good idea. It was probably my best option, but I was antsy. I wanted to take a look around, so I knew my friends were up in Germany. So I said, Donna, I got to split. And so I said goodbye to Donna, got to Barcelona, and got on a bus, and the bus from Barcelona went to Frankfurt, Germany, and it was a long bus ride, man. And I remember that first night on the bus, I was like, did I make the right decision? There was a lot of that on that first trip to Europe, second guessing myself, wondering, should I have stayed or should I have gone, the trip was riddled with that kind of a feeling, have I made the right choice? So anyways, I'm on this bus, and it's kind of scary because it's dark, and we get off some place, where you're gonna, stop and rest and stretch your legs, and it's like, kind of an American toll road kind of plaza where you only got one choice, it's it, it's just, and so you go in there and you realize, oh, I don't have that much money, man. I'm gonna get eaten live out here, it's like I'm not even gonna get a sandwich, it's like I just suffer through, and I'll be okay in the morning. And then when we got to Germany, I remember it was like early in the morning maybe, or roused out of sleep by this Nazi kind of looking dude, dressed in military uniform, and guys with him, a couple guys with machine guns, and it's like, what the hell is this? And they get on the bus and they're checking passports, right? They get to me and they go, what nationality are you? I think he said it in English too, because I understood him. And I go, I'm Italian and German. You idiot! You're an American. And that was the first time I found out that I was an American, Tommy. Yeah. Up until then, if somebody asks what's in common? What's your nationality? They say, what's your nationality? I'm Irish. I'm Polish over by there. That's how you do it in Chicago, right? They don't say, what's your ethnic history? What's your nationality? Turns out American is a nationality. And so I gave him my passport, and he's like, idiot. And he hands it back to me, and then I make it to Germany. I get to Frankfurt. I'm going to see Sean and Tom Murphy. Yeah. So they pick me up, and then we start heading south. I think we spent one night in Frankfurt at her, cousins or whatever we was. And very enjoyable. Got fed. I felt like a real person again. People aren't calling me an idiot, and I'm not out of place. I'm with friends, and I'm, got a nice bed to sleep in. I'm going to have a hot shower, and all that. Everything's good. And the next morning, we're back on the road, and I realize, I don't have a lot of money. I shouldn't be doing this. This is nuts. But we make it all the way down to the border of Italy and Germany, where I actually have a lead on a job from when I was working in Mammoth, California. I was waiting tables in Mammoth, and I waited on this couple, nice California older couple, and they were going to Europe. And I said, I'm going to Europe, and I said, where are you going to go? I go, everywhere, man, the whole thing. And they say, well, I go, but I got to get a job. And they go, well, maybe you should work in Vipitano. It's also called Sterzing. It's right on the border of Italy and Germany, and it has two names, Sterzing or Vipitano, depending on who you ask. And I said, why should I go there? She goes, well, we have some friends, the Nolenbergs, and they have a grocery store there, and maybe they can give you a job, or at least give you some kind of clue as where to get a job. And it's a ski resort, much like here, Mammoth, California. And I said, bingo, that's it. That's what I'm going to do. All right, so Tom and Sean, they're great. We're having a good time, except for the fact that they're spending money at, bed and breakfasts and everything. And, and Tom's, I go to eat a breadstick, at lunch one time, and he's going, Billy, they charge you for those. And I'm like, oh, you're kidding me. You don't even get free breadsticks in Italy, man. Yeah. So it's like, oh man, I gotta get out of here. So they dropped me off. I waved goodbye to them. That was a weird feeling too. It's like, now I'm on my own. Donna's in Spain. That was a long one. I think she's getting ready to fly back to the United States pretty soon, so she could have helped me, but I blew it. And now I just ditched, Sean and Tom. They're heading down to Sicily, and I would like to have gone with them, but there was no way, And now I'm in this town of Sturtzing. They leave me here. I got to find this Nolenberg family. And sure enough, I find it. I find the grocery store, and I go to find Mr. and Mrs. Nolenberg and tell them I know this couple from Chicago or from Mammoth, California, and they're gone. They're on vacation. But the kid's there. His name is Anton Nolenberg. So he's kind of like Italian German. He's more confused than probably a lot of European kids. Not sure who he is. But like me, I'm Italian German too. Anyway, so I say, Antoine, can I get a job around here? He goes, well, what do you want to do? And I said, work, in a ski resort. He goes, do you see any snow? No, Anton, I don't see any snow. Well, it's going to be a little difficult getting a job in a ski resort with no snow. So just got to be patient. It might come maybe 3-4 weeks, maybe a month. Who knows? It was still October, middle October. And there was no snow on the mountains. So I said, well, shoot, is there anything else going on? He goes, nah, not really. All right, well, I guess it's time for me to go then. So here I am in Vipitano, realizing there's nothing for me there. Go to the train station, try to sleep in a train station, get kicked out of the train station. And, the guy was a jerk. And I told my dad this story later, and he told me something that a little adage, the smaller the train station, the bigger the train master. Anyway, so I'm on the side of a hill, sleeping, freezing. And the next morning, I call my cousin in Darmstadt, my cousin Susie, and I say, Susie, I got to get a job. And she says, well, come on up here, and we'll talk. And so we go up there, and I go to the civilian personnel office the next day, and Susie, it's going to take 6 months for me to get a job here. All right, well, did you try Garmisch? And I go, what's Garmisch? She goes, it's a ski resort for soldiers and their families. It's called the Armed Forces Recreation Center. There's there's Partenkirchen, there's Chiemsee, and there's Berchtesgaden. And I said, well, I was just down in Vipitano, Italy, and they don't got any snow. And she goes, well, they're probably, they're gearing up in Garmisch for, the winter season, so now might be a good time to get in. I gave him a call. Sure enough, the civilian personnel officer said, come on down. And so with my last $50, $100, whatever I had left, I go down to Garmisch and get a job. They tell me where to go to get a place to stay. I get a place to stay as part of the deal in an army barracks, an old SS barracks actually. And I'm with all these other kids that are working at this Armed Forces Recreation Center. It's like Peter Pan arrived in Neverland, man. It was like perfect. But I also felt kind of like Peter Fonda in Easy Rider. When Dennis Hopper says to him, we made it, man, and Peter says, no, we blew it. That's the way I felt. I actually had a bicycle. I got it for a couple bucks, $10 maybe. I picked up a bicycle, a used bike, and I'm riding my bike in this beautiful town of Garmisch with onion dome cathedrals and story, from fables, painted on the walls of these stucco houses and stuff. It was idyllic, and but I still had the sense that, well, I went to work for the Americans, therefore, I blew it. I'm not working for Germans. I'm not in Germany. I'm actually in a little American island in Germany. But I tell you what, it worked out pretty well. I spent the next 3 years there. I worked first in a ski resort, ski lodge, handing out skis, renting out skis, and then I got a job at the Von Steuben Hotel as a waiter. Eventually became a bartender, met all sorts of interesting characters there, and waited tables in Germany. Made some good I was still getting tips, and so I made some good money, and I was able to take a leave without pay whenever I wanted to, which was great. I could just split, say, hey, I'm going to take the next month off, whatever, and I'd come back and get my job back. It was really perfect because there was all sorts of places to travel in the vicinity of Garmisch. You had Switzerland over here, you had Italy down there, you had Austria just over there, you had Netherlands and France and England just not too far away. Actually, England was kind of far away. But France and the Netherlands were pretty accessible. We went to Amsterdam quite often, me and my buddies. Oh, by the way, did I tell you this is 1989, this first year that I'm there? And October comes, and then, you know, there's kind of a sense that something's happening in Europe, you know? You get kind of a feeling, you get kind of electricity in the air. And so some friends that I made early on when I first got to Garmisch want to go to Berlin. And this is still in October. And so Checkpoint Charlie, the wall, it's all still up. There's still East German guards on the wall with guns, you know? And we were able to go into East Berlin even before the wall came down. And it was a weird thing. I mean, it was like a different world. I mean, it was a department store with nothing inside of it, you know? Just, I don't get it. What are you selling? Sold out, you know? So that was wild, eye-opening. So then we get back to the West, and I got some pictures and everything. I saw the wall, but it was everything was still standing, man. It was nothing had happened yet. Then only a month later, it hit the fan, right? Ronald Reagan said, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall," and it seems like right after he said it, it was it. What happened? I think there was like a little confusion, something like that, where some officials said, "Okay, it's over. You can go, come and go to the East Germans," you know, and so they started, you know, being a little more lenient on the wall or something, and then all of a sudden it's like, what just happened? And then, you know, the people started chipping at the wall, you know, and it's like it just happened where it just was an unstoppable, like a dam had burst open, right? And now there's exchange of people from the east to the west. But the people in the east, they still can't believe it. You know, they still got their thing going on in the east, so they're going back and forth still. And some are thinking about maybe moving someplace, probably. But I didn't get to see the wall come down in November. I'm in Garmisch, and I just been there in October, and now it's Christmas time, and I said I got to get down there for New Year's. So I did. I up there rather. So I packed a backpack with a case of beer and I brought some vodka and maybe some whiskey too from the commissary, and took it up to Berlin. And this time I went by myself, and brought a chisel and a hammer, and was in the goggles, and my ski goggles, and I was hammering away at the Berlin Wall, getting chips. And the guy next to me was this kid. I think his name was Antoine too. I think everybody in my story is named Antoine from Germany. Anyway, so this guy, he's chipping away at the wall. He's from East Germany, right? He's never been to the West before. He's only heard about it and read about it and dreamed about it and seen movies about America and everything. Now he gets a chance to go, and he's a teenager like I was back when I was 18, first hitting the road, and he's chipping at the wall, and he's going to sell the pieces to tourists to make money to fund his travels. Isn't that great? He's going to tear down the wall and use that wall that oppressed him to further his freedom. I love that story. Anyway, so that's pretty much the start of my German adventure. It was with the wall coming down. And wow, what a time to be in Europe. I couldn't have timed it better. And now I get to go to Eastern Europe. I check out Prague. I have a great time in Prague. And I'm thinking I got to spend more time here. But I was making my money back in Garmisch, and we were going down to Venice for Carnival every year with some friends. That, you know, there was always somebody to go play with. You know, you want to go to Carnival? Okay, we got a van together. Let's go. Went to Carnival in Venice, so I got to hang around Venice a bunch of times, and then I got to explore Italy with another girlfriend that I had in Germany, in Garmisch, an English girl, Carrie, and I. We tried to hitchhike. We didn't have much luck hitchhiking out of Germany. And when we got to Italy, we just jumped on a train and went down to Brindisi. And from Brindisi, we went to Greece on a ferry boat. In Greece, you talk about freedom. There's a place that was free. I tell you what, I had never, walked along a beach drinking wine naked in the middle of the day in America. In Greece, I did it every day for 3 weeks. You could have lived there, and people were building huts on the beach. It turns out like they had a campground. You could have camped on an island of Amargos, and the campground was owned by the guy who was the brother of the sheriff. And whenever his campground was low on vacancies, the sheriff would go to the beach and rouse people out of sleeping on the beach to go to the campground. But if he had a full campground, he could sleep on the beach. And some people even made huts, nice dwellings on this beautiful beach, and everybody was butt naked. It was an amazing revelation to me that this sort of free society could actually exist. So I liked Greece very much, needless to say. But we eventually left. Carrie and I returned to Garmisch to make our money, and different all sorts of adventures happened. I met a girl skiing. She was working as a seamstress for a production of Jesus Christ Superstar, playing in Munich, a musical, Wolfgang Bosch Productions, traveling all over Europe. And with meeting her, I ended up working in the theater, eventually on Jesus Christ Superstar with her. She got me the job. I was a carpenter on the set of Jesus Christ Superstar, and made some good money there, and went back to Garmisch. After that, she went back to Scotland, where she was from. I got a call from one of the producers, one of the director, or one of the guys who puts the show on the roads, and he says, "Do you want to go on another show run?" And he hired me for Phantom of the Opera. Not Andrew Lloyd Webber's, but Ken Hill's Phantom. Anyways, so I went on tour with Phantom of the Opera, and with the money that I saved there, I realized now I can further my travels. In the meantime, I did spend some more time in Prague. I did teach English there for about 3-4 months. That was great, but no money. And so I went back to Germany, Garmisch, made some more money. But I had this idea about Prague. I had made friends there. And so Prague was my first launching point for my around-the-world trip. And when I had saved the money, I went back to, I hitchhiked to Prague. That was my first stretch, hitchhiking to Prague. Saw my friends there. They got me, situated with a train ticket to Moscow. I got to Moscow. I bought a train ticket there in Moscow to Beijing. Took a train from Moscow to Beijing. And there's some stories there I could tell you sometimes, folks. Maybe one of these days, if you'll have me back, I'll hear some of those. And so then I get to Beijing, and now I'm in the Orient. Wow, that's mind-blowing, And there was this one time in Guangzhou train station where I'm just running back and forth, screaming like a madman. Where is this train, that I'm supposed to catch, man? Trying to communicate to people. Nobody's, like, get you. People looking like I'm an idiot, and I was, and it's like, couldn't communicate with anybody, didn't know where I was supposed to be, knew I was running out of time. One of those situations in China, I can remember that one. But there was other times that was more serene. I got to walk on the Great Wall of China. I had a friend from the train, little Hitsung from China. She was, like a lot of the people on the train from Beijing to Moscow, trading. They used it as a trading post. They'd go to the west, buy things there. On the way back, at every stop, they would trade out the windows, and she was trying to make money to further her education. She was a physicist, for crying out loud. Yeah, so when we got to Beijing, she got me a hotel room, and I said, "You got to stay with me." She says, "I can't." Why not? They're watching. They'll watch us. It's like, oh, what could they do to you? But I talked to her. She goes, "Well, look, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll leave it up to chance." And so she got these scraps of paper, and she wrote down yes and no on equal amounts of them. And we shook them up and threw them on the ground. She goes, "And now open one up." And it said no. And I go, 2 out of 3. So I open another one, and it says no. And I go, "This game's stupid. You're staying." And so anyways, she ended up staying, and she showed me around the Forbidden City. And then we went to go see the Emperor's house. No, that's a joke. All right, so I'm in Beijing. Now it's time to go to Kathmandu. Kathmandu, you got to go to Kathmandu, right? Kathmandu. I got a buddy I've known him since I was 5 years old. He's in the Peace Corps in Kathmandu, but we've been corresponding half-assed, and I think he's getting ready to get out of there. So I got to get there as soon as possible, so I catch him before he goes back to the States. And now I'm in Beijing. I catch a plane. I guess I had enough money to fly from Beijing to Kathmandu and get off the plane there and go to the Peace Corps office. And I say, hi, I'm looking for Bill Heckler. He goes, well, you just missed him. And I'm like, oh no. And it turns out though that he went away for just a day. He's coming back, and so I get to see my buddy from the neighborhood, 3,000 miles away, wherever the hell we are. And so he shows me around Kathmandu, and we decided to go trekking in the Himalayas, and so he shows me he can speak the language, we go up into these hill tribes and talk to people. We probably could have married this dude's daughters. We were in this guy's yard. The guy's giving us milk, out from their cow that's right in the yard. And that was like a big deal. Bill's like, that's a big deal, man. And he's got these pretty daughters all running around giggling. And it's like, let's just stay here. What the hell? This might be Shangri-La. And so, of course, we didn't stay. We then went to Thailand together. And so Billy and I end up in the hill tribes of Chiang Mai and Chiang Rai in northern Thailand, and hanging out with those folks. And so that's Billy wanted to do, so we did that. So I get to hang out in Nepal, I get to hang out in Thailand, and Bill goes back to the States, and I stay in Thailand for another 9 months. I stayed there for a full year, and I was able to travel for 6 months. I had enough money, it was cheap enough where I could just go wherever I wanted. And I had a little home base in Bangkok with some people that I would hang out with in Bangkok, some fellow travelers that were my home, my family. And then I would go explore. And I taught English in Thailand, and did that for another 6 months. And then I figured it's time to go back home. So I returned to the United States with not even a reason to go back, except for I think that I should go back. I had already gotten rid of all kind of homesickness. It was strange. I likened to swimming underwater, and I had learned to breathe underwater, and I didn't have to surface anymore. But I knew I was from the surface, so I thought I should return to the surface. And when I did, the gravitational pull of Chicago and my home and my family and my friends kept me there for a long time. Traveling, I loved it, and I thought. Years go by, and I was like, I have not done any traveling. Do I still love it? Do I still love it like I did? I still as adventurous. Do I still have the nuts for it? And so I did go back to the Netherlands and spend 3 months. Because 3 months is a good amount of time to be gone, to know whether you shift. You make that shift, that paradigm shift where that's not your real anymore. This is your reality. And so I was able to spend 3 months, and that's all you can spend anymore as a tourist, by the way. 90 days in, 90 days out, which is a drag.
And when did you go there?
I went this just past February, which was 2015, until May of 2015, yeah. And I went to go work on a boat restoration project. These guys I met here in South Haven 15 years ago. 2 Dutch sailors got off a tall ship and wanted to build a tall ship here in South Haven, which we did. That was called the Piraeus Magnus. It's now in the dock in Canary Islands. They made it across the Atlantic with this boat we built here in a shed. And I didn't get to make the trip. And I was always pining for that sea adventure. So I went back to try and connect with these guys, and I did. Now I'm a crew member of the Nordleys, and I'm going to maybe go sail away with them one of these days.
So what has travel meant to you in your life?
Travel has meant that the world is bigger than you think it is, and the people out there are nicer than you think they are. And I tell you what, the best thing about the world is the world. So if you have any inclination to go and see the world, go see it. It's the best thing you'll ever do.
Awesome. And one quick question while we have a little time. What's your definition of happiness?
Oh, wow. Happiness, huh? Happiness is elusive, and it seems like happiness is something that only comes in a spurt or in a moment, and it's fleeting. And but you can try and get another one.
And anything else? Because it's a minute left. So, do you want to say anything else?
No.